Hi there, my name's Tanyel. I'm a Specialist Advisory Teacher here at CATS. The next few slides will describe what we may notice in our classrooms, and I will share some strategies that you can implement daily to increase well-being and engagement by learners with additional needs. Children with specific learning difficulties may present challenges with their memory, their organisation, and their visual auditory processing skills. By identifying the challenges the children face, we'll be able to make a few tweaks across the school day to help them to understand the day-to-day routines and reduce any anxieties that they may have. So what can we hear as teachers? We may hear children say they can't do it, they want to go home, asking when it's lunchtime multiple times of the day, explaining that things are too hard or they just can't do it. Children will present this in different ways depending on how they communicate, and you will know them best as you get to know them across the year. Other things we may notice: children won't get started on their tasks, they may be really easily distracted. You have to give frequent reminders to look and listen and join in. Or the child takes a really long time to get started on their tasks. There is a range of things that may be happening in your classroom which may relate to the needs that that child has. Some reasons why some pupils present the behaviours described in the previous slides may be that they are unsure of the school routines, or they just need reminding more frequently. They find understanding new information difficult, and retaining that information is an extra skill that they need to acquire. Something may have happened and they weren't able to communicate it. So embedding strategies in your class that speak to those pupils through different visuals and a consistent approach will help them to communicate and understand the routine of the day. The next few slides will share some strategies that you can implement. They won't take long to do, but they become a part of your classroom culture. They work for all pupils, not just for the learners that have additional needs. The beginning of your day really sets the tone for the rest of your day. So set your expectations nice and early. If you want a calm class, a quiet class, a class where children are following instructions, then start in that way, model it. Washing your hands, write 3 affirmations and sit on the carpet. It's on the board, it's ready for the children, it's visually presented. If a child comes in late and they're quite anxious about being late, they've got the visuals to help them to catch up. You won't need to keep repeating yourself, and this is just a permanent piece of information on the board for a child who needs a little bit longer to process information. Writing 3 affirmations is a good start to the day as well. There's research to show that it builds confidence and it builds resilience. This is an example of a resource made for you, which will be available to download. For children that may not be able to write their own affirmations and have a think independently, they can read and tick and use the visuals to support them to understand. As you can see here, the positive words and the keywords you want them to be using and looking out for are in capital letters, paired with the symbols. Registration is another part of the day where you can implement strategies that will really make an impact over time. You don't need to add anything extra as well as registration. A really good strategy I saw in one school was that as a child hears their name, they say something nice about themselves or a peer. In front of you, you can see a dial with 4 colours. The colours have been taken from an intervention called the zones of regulation. However, if your school uses different colours to represent emotions and you have another wellbeing strategy, you can edit these colours on the dial. This is a downloadable resource from our CERC website too. So as you call out a child's name on the register, they can say they're feeling blue, green, yellow or red. You'll notice the child that is in the red zone, but some children may be in the yellow zone or really tired in the blue zone. So this is a great opportunity to teach and model to the children how to get back to green, or even tell them it's absolutely fine that you're in the blue zone. Your day will get better as time goes on. So you might want to give them an example. You got on the bus this morning to get to work, you got a coffee and it's spilled everywhere. You must feel really upset, frustrated in the yellow zone. So to make you feel better, what did you do? So share some strategies. You may have drank a glass of water when you got to work. Someone may have helped you, that made you feel green. So really supporting the children to label emotions and identify strategies. There are two sides to the dial. On one side, it's the names of the emotions, and behind it, you can add strategies that you've come up with your class. Registration, again, is a great time to do this and to model it. So, if you're in the blue zone, you might want to talk to a friend. It might help if you go for a little movement break, or see what the calm corner has. The yellow zone might be that you have an adult you'd like to talk to, or an activity you can do elsewhere. So helping the children identify that it's okay to feel different emotions and there are strategies to get back to green. Here's another slide you can have open and ready for your pupils. They've just come in from break time. They're excited, they're hot, they're sweaty. Lots of things may have happened that they can't wait to tell you. Make it a part of your classroom routine that after break times, it's time to get calm. So get them together, do 10 slow, deep breaths. Ask them what they can hear, smell, feel, and taste. It's a great grounding activity and another way to model self-regulating strategies to children. You can introduce a stop and drop wellbeing check. This encourages children to talk about how they're feeling and to identify any worries that they may have. Again, if children are struggling with managing their emotions or understanding school routines or processing information, this will be really supportive for them to talk and use and learn vocabulary across the day. On the top right, you can see a worry monster. Some schools use this to ask children to write down a worry, talk about a worry, and then pop it into the monster's mouth and it's gone. This intervention does not work if the worry monster becomes a decorative piece in your classroom. So use it, implement it, and make it work. Here I would like to talk about the importance of visual prompts and how our language really makes a difference in the classroom and the school environment. So have visuals that will support the children to follow the expectations you want from your class. Have them on a lanyard, laminated, and as the children see your lanyard, it's a prompt for them to do the right thing. Again, whatever works for one child will work for the rest of the children. In terms of the language that you use, tell them what you want to see. Walk slowly. Use a quiet voice. I need to see your hands up. And when you see them, give them the best positive praise you've ever given and watch that independence increase as they get better and better at following these class rules. On the bottom right of this screen, you can see a pair of glasses. This can be used as a prompt for the rest of your class to identify that this is when you will be looking for the children doing the right thing. So you will notice that children will say, "Hey, miss or sir, have the glasses up." They're waiting to see who's going to put their hands up to join in, or who's going to show really good listening and really good sitting, for example. Again, you're setting your expectations, you're leaving them on the board. The children that may not understand verbal language as well as others, they will have a visual prompt up on the board for them. And really be explicit with the praise you are providing. If it is really good sitting, really good communicating, say it so the children know what it is that they're doing. And when you ask them another time, they remember what that looked like. At first, you need to give frequent positive praise for the good behaviours that you see in the classroom, and you'll notice the engagement levels increasing. I'd like you to think about your last lesson that you delivered. Now, if it wasn't a PE lesson, I'd like you to take this time to reflect. You can pause the video if you'd like to. Just reflect on how many times the children moved in the lesson. Why did they move? And what did they get out of that movement? Was it enough? Movement breaks are really important for children. It helps them to refocus, and it helps them to get those sensory needs met. So set a timer in your class to get you moving and to reduce the teacher talk in the lesson too. Sometimes we spend so long trying to get through our lesson plans that we don't realise that we've just been talking. So set that timer now for your next lesson. Take time to go through what day it is, what day it will be tomorrow, or what day it was yesterday. You can use this in all year groups, and I'm sure you can find how you can make it beneficial and a teaching opportunity for your pupils. For children that have particular anxiety about specific days, they will be able to work on the strategies that they've got to be able to manage their emotions for particular days of the week. You can create learning opportunities for younger children, such as clicking the arrow and it taking you to a YouTube video of the days of the week for them to remember that routine. For older children, you can support them to understand how organisation is super important and how they can organise their week to be able to revise or to do their homework. On the top left, you can see here I've added a visual expectation, quiet voices and only one person talking. Again, it's permanent, you don't need to repeat yourself, you can just walk past your board and point. This includes TAs as well, so it's really important that they model the expectations too. So, you delivered an excellent activity at the start of your day. The children are feeling confident, they're engaged. They've gone to break and they've come back completely different. They're a bit sweatier, they're really excited, and lots of events may have happened at break that we want to tell you about. Again, a great teaching opportunity for you. It will take 5 minutes. Pop up your dial and go through some strategies to help them get back to the green zone. Let's take 10 slow, deep breaths. Let's do some grounding activities. Let's go through the rules for the rest of the day. This is another whole class activity you can do to identify how many more days are left of the school week. A really good maths activity for some children too. This can be downloaded as an individual resource as well. Here's a moment for us to reflect. Do you use visual timetables in your classroom? If you do, when was the last time you actually used it? Do you go to it every lesson to tell the children what lesson it is and what lesson's next? Or do you look at it at the start of the day only and at the end of the day? Now have a think about how you can make some changes or include some strategies to help make visual timetables really meaningful for children. How you can represent changes or support children to identify what they will be doing for the rest of the day. If they are going to computing, what will they see there? Who will be there? So you're having that discussion that some children may be having in their minds, which is interrupting their learning. So talking it out loud and having opportunities for conversation using visual timetables will really help. Don't just leave them there, use them. You may have seen these now and next boards suggested for individual children or used by individual children across your school. This is a great resource to use as a whole class. Now I'd like you to work in a group. Next, we'll be sharing our ideas. Write it up for the children so that they know what's happening. Having this on your smartboard means that you can insert icons. If you use PowerPoint or Google at school, you can just enter images above. Again, in the middle, I've got expectations there so that children know that it's time to whisper during group teaching. There's another downloadable resource for you. It's the 7 C's of Resilience. So there's some activity ideas and definitions for you to explore in your classroom. To summarise, display your expectations and notice them out loud. Set clear routines and always offer movement breaks. Provide opportunities to learn new vocabulary and to support children to label their emotions. This will support them to regulate their own emotions as they go through the school day. Thank you for listening and set that timer in your lesson for the movement break.